station, Manx Radio.
A very good evening to you and welcome to the first 2022 edition of Today at the Games. We are live from Birmingham and right outside the Alexander Stadium, where this evening 30,000 people are queuing up to watch the opening ceremony for the 2022 Commonwealth Games. The ceremony itself, it gets underway at 8 p.m. and yesterday, we have to say, we were lucky enough to see and hear some bits of the rehearsals. Of course, we can't really say anything. We cannot say anything at all. But what we do know that for the Isle of Man, they're going to be led out into the stadium later on by swimmer Laura Kinley and the Manx Missile himself, cyclist Mark Cavendish, who are the flag bearers for the Isle of Man this evening. But before we go into any further details, I have to say, I'm certainly not on my own here in Birmingham. I'm joined by the fantastic William King and Elliot Turnbull. William, Elliot, very good evening to you both.
Faster my Rob, good evening. It's brilliant to be here in Birmingham.
And Elliot, coming to you, great to see both of you. Well, obviously we've been travelling over ourselves, getting used to things over the last couple of days. Elliot, starting with you, we've had a chance to sort of soak things up here, especially outside the stadium in the last couple of hours. What have you made of the atmosphere in the city so far?
Yeah, well, it's only really been an hour since the gates have opened here, but already you're hearing there's a great buzz around the place. You said 30,000 people will be in attendance. 1.5 billion people are expected to watch, so I think we all should feel very lucky with our tickets for this. And yeah, it goes on for 2.5 hours. We've got 72 nations from different overseas territories representing themselves here. Obviously the Isle of Man, one of those. And yeah, we've got Duran Duran headlining, and they've had over 250 rehearsals. So I'm excited, it'll be good.
250 rehearsals on top of, I'm sure, years of performing as well, of course. It is fantastic sitting here. We're on a little park bench just as towards the entrance where everybody is flowing in who's coming to watch. And a couple of people are going up to their seats in the stands. We can see the flags of all the nations. The Isle of Man is up there, we can confirm.
It's up there and it's also on our table. We've got about 3 Manx flags, like a Castletown corner, could be, I'm not sure.
You're very welcome. Indeed, speaking of flags, we can say that we're going to hear from Laura Kinley next, who is one of the flag bearers representing the Isle of Man this evening.
We've settled in really well now, and training's going really good. So we've been training for the last 4 days now, and everything's going really well. So really looking forward to competing tomorrow now. It's been really good being in the same kind of environment as all the top names, and it is inspiring. So I'm really looking forward to racing against a lot of them over the next week now.
Okay, remind us what events you're competing in.
So I'm competing in the 50 metre and 100 metre breaststroke and the 4x100 metre mixed medley relay.
These get underway tomorrow, don't they?
Yeah, so my first race, 50 metre breaststroke, is tomorrow morning.
But before that, you've got an exciting role to play tonight. You're going to be part of the team and carrying the flag for the Isle of Man. How does that sound?
It's just amazing, really. It's such an honour to be able to carry the flag for the Isle of Man. It's such a proud moment. It is quite a big achievement, really, so I'm really looking forward to it later.
I bet you are. And you've walked out into the opening ceremony of games before. What is that like, that moment where you step out into the stadium?
You can't really explain it. The atmosphere is just incredible, the noise, the spectators. There isn't really anything else that's ever matched it before, so it's just going to be incredible.
And we were just saying, as a swimmer, with your events so early, you might not normally actually go, but you getting to do this tonight, waving the flag, it's going to be pretty special, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is my 3rd Commonwealth Games now, so to have this opportunity, it is really special, and I can't wait to be able to get out there this evening.
And you'll be walking out alongside another top Manx athlete, cyclist Mark Cavendish. How are you feeling about that?
Really exciting. I mean, he's always been one of my role models kind of growing up within sport. He kind of proves that being from the Isle of Man, you can go out there and compete on the international stage and be competitive against all these other nations. So it is really proud, and I feel quite honoured to be able to do it alongside him as well.
Okay, so as part of the team carrying out the flag, I suppose you'll kind of be the leaders of the team in a way. What's your words for the rest of the athletes competing for the Isle of Man?
I think the main thing would be to enjoy it. It is almost a once in a lifetime opportunity, so just go out there, have fun, take it all in, and yeah, just have the best time, really.
That was Laura Kinley of the Team Isle of Man Aquatics team and one of the flag bearers for tonight's ceremony. And William and Elliot, just to get your thoughts really, as we know the sport internationally has been massively disrupted over the past couple of years due to the COVID pandemic, but to see an event not just of such a high calibre but of this scale being able to return, how does it feel to see that, not just from an Isle of Man perspective but also for all the other Commonwealth nations to be part of?
It's incredible, and it's feeling that we've missed. Walking around here, we've seen Jamaican flags, we've seen Barbados. As you saw in Instagram stories, Rob is very good at guessing his flags, and it's great to see so many different people from across the globe, and hopefully it will be reflected on the athletics pitch, on the swimming pool. It'd be amazing.
Indeed, I think you're so right. If we look at the Olympics, which happened last year, obviously delayed from 2020 in Tokyo, it was great. It was a big international event, but there were no crowds. So for the nations that are members of the Commonwealth, this is something special because it's athletes competing back in front of crowds. And of course, for places like the Isle of Man, it's the highest level at which you can compete.
Absolutely. I mean, you've just said it there yourself, the crowds, and looking around us, and of course you can't see this, but there's not a spare inch of grass or pavement around us that isn't filled with people at the moment as they just continue to file into the stadium compounds. And you touched on that quite rightly there as well, the fact that there are crowds in, the fact that they can express themselves in front of fans of their own nation and fans of other nations as well. It's what, as an athlete, you live to do. It's some of the things you dream of, isn't it?
Yeah, and you hope that these Manx athletes experiencing it for the first time will thrive off having the crowds. They'll hopefully thrive from having, perhaps in some events, an underdog status, and it can really push them on to go and achieve personal bests.
And looking at Team Isle of Man, 34 athletes in the Isle of Man squad this year. It's a huge number. It just says a lot, doesn't it, about the quality that the Isle of Man can bring this year.
It really does, and there are a lot of people looking after the Isle of Man team here in Birmingham. Among them is Basil Bielich, who's the president of the island's Commonwealth Games Association. I went and caught up with him outside the Isle of Man pavilion in Felson's Bar earlier today.
It's been 4 years in the making. Obviously, we had 2 years of the pandemic where we had our meetings on Zoom and got everything together. And eventually we're here and we're all really excited. I've been here since Sunday, been around the Birmingham. It's absolutely fantastic. There's a real buzz in the place. People are so friendly. Wherever we go, walking around in our Isle of Man kit, people are stopping us and mentioning that they know people in the Isle of Man. Some people don't know where the Isle of Man is, and we educate them where it is, and it's just fantastic.
What would you say has been the biggest challenge of the last 4 years?
I think the biggest challenge has been for the athletes. From an administration point of view, it's been difficult, but not as difficult for the athletes. And helping those athletes qualify and get competition, and actually, it was only a year ago that we knew the games would actually take place, and that didn't give them much time. Most of them were able to qualify, and unfortunately there were one or two that didn't get the opportunity to get their times or get their qualification standards, and that's really the most difficult thing that we've had to go through.
But we have got 34 athletes.
I think it's well known that we feel that this is one of our strongest teams that we've got. I think all the good work that all the sports on the Isle of Man sport, and all that's been invested in our athletes is starting to bear fruit, and slowly our team's getting stronger and stronger. I've had a lot of meetings with other presidents from other nations, and they're all talking about our strong team. So,
what do they say?
Obviously, the first person that they mention is Cav, which is fantastic. But I think they're starting to get scared of us, and they ask, how our system works. The one night I was with the officials from Isantwini, which used to be Swaziland, and they were proud that their country of 1.2 million people had 12 athletes here. And I said, well, we've only got 85,000 people and we've got 34 athletes, and they were astounded at that, which was fantastic.
I bet they were. It's important for the Isle of Man, these games, isn't it? As you said, you literally educate people, put the Isle of Man on the map.
Yeah. I think the games is about spreading the word about the Isle of Man and putting us on profile, getting us on TV and putting us in front of the world audience. But I think it's also a lot more than that. Our athletes at the Games will inspire young athletes on the Isle of Man to dream and to compete in the Games themselves. And we've got to create that opportunity for them.
You think the Isle of Man's got a good sporting future ahead of it then?
Definitely. I think, the amount of volunteers, the amount of people who put their own time into the Isle of Man, the professional structure that we've got in place, the willingness of the government to invest in sport and know the value that sport gives to our community is, it's just refreshing. And I think the future of the Isle of Man sport is really good. And we're going to grow from strength to strength. We're definitely punching way above our weight.
That was Basil Bielich there, the president of the Commonwealth Games Association of the Isle of Man. And William, of course, you spoke to him earlier today, and it really did sound like that's the first time I've actually heard that interview that you did with him today, and it sounded like he was getting quite emotional to know that all this hard work is coming to fruition.
I think it just shows how much passion there is among the Commonwealth Games Association, the whole team putting together this event. They know how much it means to the athletes, and they know how beneficial it can be for the Isle of Man, and it hits home.
Absolutely, so much hard work from everyone involved with the Commonwealth Games Association, from the staff to the coaches to the athletes alike. Okay, so today it's not a competition day. Of course, we have the opening ceremony this evening. It's Badgers Day 0. Tomorrow the action gets underway, including for the Isle of Man. First, it's aquatics. The heats are in the morning. The session begins at 10:30. We've got swimmers in most of the heats, including Alex Brigazzi, Kira Prentice, and then we've got the likes of Peter Allen, Harry Robinson and Joel Watterson. Our flag bearer, Laura Kinley, as well. She's in the women's 50-metre breaststroke. Harry Robinson, he'll be in the pool for the men's 100-metre backstroke, I should say. And then we also have the mixed 4x100-metre relay heats finishing off the morning.
Indeed, I was down at the Aquatic Centre earlier. Phenomenal in there. Also, just to note, when they turn the lights off at the end, something really special. I hope you get to see that if you're able to watch it in person or on the television. About 5,000 to 6,000 people can sit and watch in there. And I must say, the vibes among the Isle of Man swimming team are incredible. Really, those people really taking in the whole atmosphere of the Games. So, just to note, in the 200-metre and 400-metre events tomorrow, so that's Alex Brigazzi and Kira Prentice, the swimmers are competing for a place in the final. All our other swimmers will be going for lanes in semi-finals. Those finals and semi-finals are in the evening, that starting from 7 tomorrow. Right, so sticking with swimming then, Rob has been to speak to Lee Holland, who's the swimming coach.
Prep's going great. The swimmers we've got couldn't ask for a better prep right now. As much as I don't want to tempt fate or jinx anything. They seem to be happy. Training's going well, and the performances, the times are exactly where we want them. We're so pleased to be able to field a men's relay team in terms of having 4 men, and we've got 3 women as well. So a team of 7 is probably the strongest or the largest team we've taken for a considerable number of games, certainly in my time. But that just shows how strong aquatics is on the Isle of Man, and there's no sign of it slowing down anytime soon. It's exciting, but at the same time I'm trying to keep the athletes grounded with my stock line of it's still 50 metres of water. The facilities look amazing, and there will be an element of really excited to be part of such a big experience in the new Commonwealth pool. But again, we're trying to stay level, and realistically they've done this a million times. It's 50 metres from one end to the other. That's what we're trying to focus on. We've had a fantastic season. Everything that they've done this season has led towards us going to do big things at the Games. They are in the shape of their lives. I know how proud the island is, and the aquatics community on the Isle of Man, how proud we all are of these athletes. I want them to go and enjoy and make the memories that we all know they're capable of.
That was Lee Holland there, the Team Isle of Man aquatics coach, and he was saying as well as part of that just how relaxed the team are, and going into this he was almost suspicious of it, but they seem to be very composed. Well, let's have a look as well at another big thing going on tomorrow is the triathlon. We've got Niall Cayley and Will Draper who are going to be in action for the Isle of Man. Elliot, can you tell us a little bit more about what's going to be happening?
I can, yes. So we go off to Sutton Park, about 45 minutes from the Alexander Stadium here. And yeah, the main thing really, both competing in their first games. And we've mentioned here Isle of Man got a vast team, a very young team as well. So now Kaylee only 20 years old, Will Draper 22. So they've both transitioned to the sport in the last 4 to 5 years, and yeah, first games, absolutely nothing to lose. We've heard them speaking before saying that they're going in with an underdog status, and they're both competing in the sprint triathlon, so 750 swim, 20k bike and a 5k run.
Elliot, thanks very much. I'm sure we're going to hear more on that. Well, we move on to the evening, Friday evening at 7:30 p.m. We will have Jamie Devine of the Isle of Man boxing team. He'll be competing in the ring against Abdul Amar of Ghana after the draws were made for the boxing competitions yesterday. Jade Burden, the other part of Team Isle of Man Boxing, she has a bye going into the quarterfinals of the women's. Anyway, Peter Roberts is coaching both the Manx boxers, and he was speaking to me just the other day.
Really good. We've had a 11-week programme. This is week 11 now, coming into the games. It's been absolutely fantastic. We couldn't complain about they've really knuckled down and worked hard. Start the camp, like I said 10 weeks ago, they sparred well, they've trained well, and really coming up towards the end of the camp, they're really on form. The weight's good. We've got no excuses. We're going to tackle it all on full front, and hopefully they can come away with some positives.
And of course you've got Jade, who's based on Ireland, Jamie, who's based off Ireland as well. So has that presented you, for example, with any challenges logistically leading up to this?
It has a little bit, but we've got to travel anyway to different competitions when we go away. So what I've done is we've rolled it into two really. Every time we've gone away to see Jamie and look at his camp, we've took Jade with us.
And just looking here towards the NEC where the boxing's going to be taking place, what do you make of the facilities here? It's quite the venue, isn't it?
Absolutely different level. We walked around today. You can walk around here for 2 or 3 days and you'd still get lost. The boxing is something special. We've been in there today, had a bit of a visit. I believe there's a 6,000 capacity for the boxing at the minute. Everything's covered, everything from the physio room, the warm-up areas. It's brilliant, and the people are really good. They've been absolutely fantastic. Everyone's helpful, and they've gone out their way to make it really easy for us.
Now, of course, the quality of the Commonwealth Games and the opponents that Jade and Jamie will be coming up against, we all know that. But just the experience of doing something like this to represent the Isle of Man, just how big is it?
It's brilliant. You know, this is it's one down from the Olympics, isn't it? As an event, it's probably not, as an Isle of Man competitor, you're not going to get anything on this level, boxing domestically or nationally wise. This is the top of the tree for us, and mixing with some of the superstars of the future, it can only be beneficial for us in the future going forward.
And in terms of you, from your personal experience, did you compete in the Commonwealth Games yourself?
No, I didn't. No, my son did. Daniel did in the Youth Games way back in 2008 in India. It was a bit of an eye-opener. We had the long travel to put on top of that as well. We're only down the road here, basically, aren't we? Yeah, it's a great experience for us and for the ones coming through, really, because if I can get something out of this and see what it's like, the behind the scenes, especially where the work is really difficult, then going forward, we'll be well prepared in the future.
Like you said, it's an eye-opener from your perspective as well, seeing what's come in the past as well, for you to be able to prepare Jade and Jamie for the challenges that they face. That must be a pretty valuable thing to draw on when you've needed to.
Oh, it's invaluable. It really is. Little things like the weigh-in, for example, going there nice and early. We know what we've got to do. As long as the boxers are in there, what they've got to do now, we've had them training today, a little bit of a session. We'll do a light one tonight before they go to bed, check the weight again before, and they're just resting up now.
Just what would it mean to you to see? I'm not going to put any words in your mouth here, but just to see them progress and take things up a level, what will that mean to you if they can pull it off, which I'm sure they're absolutely capable of?
Personally, to me, I'd be delighted. I'd be delighted for them because they've really worked hard, you know, and I think they deserve a little. And we deserve a little bit of luck sometimes, and it is all on the draw. There's some nations here who haven't got very strong opponents. Again, if we can keep away from the big guns. I don't, you know, I wouldn't want to box Jade Bird and I wouldn't have boxed Jamie Devine in their day. They'll be okay, and if it's just nice to get a nice win to start things off and keep the ball rolling. And who knows how far we can go.
Peter Roberts, the Team Isle of Man boxing coach there. And to wrap things up this evening, we've spoken to the man who oversees all our athletes and is the general team manager, and that is Graham Hatcher.
We really started this straight after Gold Coast, really, a bit of performance review, put in place new standards. It's been, I think, difficult for the organisers, difficult for our athletes and difficult for everybody with the pandemic. We're through that now. There's going to be some challenges, no doubt, with COVID while we're there. But yeah, no, I'm really excited to get going now. The brakes can come off, the kit's here, the athletes are in great form, so yeah, ready to go.
One of the challenges you'll have to contend with is the fact that you're going to have athletes that are on the Isle of Man and off the Isle of Man, quite a few of them. How do you deal with that?
We've got challenges where athletes are based, but also with, I suppose for the first time, we're running out of 4 villages as well. So we have the 3 sites in Birmingham and 1 down for the velodrome in London as well. So yeah, I think general team manager is probably not right this time. I think it's logistics manager. So working with Eric, who's the chef de mission, and yeah, remaining some flexibility because athletes' schedules will change. But yeah, we've got athletes coming in, leaving after the opening ceremony, come back for the event. So it's spinning plates, really, I think is probably the best way to describe it.
How confident are you feeling just looking at the athletes, their performances in their recent respective events and training?
Really exciting, and I think it's probably overused every time we go to games to say this is our strongest team ever, but genuinely believe it is. I think right across the team, the aquatics team is really strong. The athletes are great there as well. Some good PBs just in the last few weeks there for runners and the field guys there. Cycling's always been strong for the last couple of games, and yeah, really exciting to see what they can do. And yeah, no, the whole team across the ball, and great to have Kim with us, our sort of power lifter as well. So no, really exciting team. I'm looking forward to catching up with the boxers and see them perform, because it's been a while since I've not had them at the game. So all very good. I think from my other side is just fingers crossed now in terms of their health run up to their competition time now and getting them on the start line.
This year, of course, you successfully applied to get a couple more places on the squad as well. What do you think that says about the quality of Manx sport?
Very much so. So it was a sort of looking after Gold Coast is where will we be with numbers if shooting's not there, because shooting's been a very strong team for us, and how we'd have managed to get the team into 34 places if the shooters and so the archery team had been there. I don't really want to comprehend how difficult that would have been. So no, it's great to see the depth. Yeah, probably our biggest cycling team ever, and I think there's only one rider there who's not a full-time professional, so that's great for them. But no, I think right across sport in the Isle of Man is certainly booming, and at that high level now as well. So it's really exciting to see, and hopefully this will be instrumental in bringing other athletes into sport across the island, whether it's Commonwealth Games disciplines or not, but really sort of boosting sport on the island for athlete development, really. Just
how big an event is this for the athletes in terms of experience for some who may not have gone through this particular process before?
It's huge in terms of managing expectations. Home games do bring some challenges on that side. Family a lot more involved with the home games, obviously travel's much easier, so the pressure's there, and I think I'll be working with the rest of the teams, the sports manager, everybody, just to ensure that athletes have sort of, because one athlete could be comfortable with family there and others may not, so it's very difficult to get a balance across the team. So, but going forward, yeah, that ability to, you've got a multi sort of stage event, the athletes there, just being in the village, just soaking that up, it just brings your experience and performance up to another level. What would you as general team manager consider to be a successful 2022 games? I think personally, with the challenges our athletes had to get to the games and everybody's faced over the last few years with COVID, I think my success for me is speaking to every athlete after the games and them saying to me, I came away and I left everything there and I couldn't have done any more. Now, whether that's a medal or whether it's a top 10 or a PB or a season's best, that doesn't matter. I think we've got a great team, and I think if they go out there and deliver to their very max of their ability, that's success for me. They've got everything they need from us, and they've been very successful.
Well, that is it from our first edition of Today at the Games 2022 from myself, William and Elliot here outside the Alexander Stadium. Don't forget, we'll be back tomorrow night with the latest roundup of the last 24 hours, going into the next 24 hours, 6 till 6:30 p.m. on Manx Radio. And don't forget, you can follow our live blog each day throughout the games, so you never miss any updates on how our athletes are doing throughout the day. So, have a very good evening. We are now looking forward to the opening ceremony and things getting underway proper. So, until tomorrow, see you next time.
Bye!